Sorry about the delay, everyone.
From the Black Swan Media Studios, deep inside a secret underground bunker, we're speaking to freedom-loving patriots from all around the country and the world. Welcome to the Resistance. This is John Crump, live.
We are back. Sorry about the delay. My Rodecaster Pro 2 decided that it needed a firmware update right before we were going to come on, and it didn't give me a chance to say no or delay it. It just automatically started it. So we're going to go jump into things really quick with our friend Flying Rich himself.
Crumpy.
And we have someone else that is joining us. The man, the myth, the legend, Larry Sharpe.
Yes, I have returned. You may all rejoice.
How are you liking the smoke up in New York? Because in Virginia, it kind of sucks.
It was horrible these last couple of days. It looked like literally like hell was unleashed on earth. But, that's kind of New York City. So, whatevs. But no, it was dark. The sun was red. It was kind of crazy. But yeah, it's fine. I mean, we're used to terrible stuff here. So it kind of went by, and it's much better now, by the way. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, I haven't been outside today, but I think we're still pretty bad. I think, it's very bad. I think we need to build a wall to keep the smoke out.
That will be the answer. Wall's always the right answer. Always. Build a wall. Smoke wall.
All right.
What does Fauci say to do?
Yeah.
Well, then it would be true. I mean, whatever Fauci says is true. So we know this.
He is the
science. Fauci is never wrong, Rich. Don't you dare be a blasphemer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So if people don't know who you are, this is Larry Sharpe. He is a libertarian. He ran for governor in New York before he got sued off the ballot. We'll talk about that in a minute. He is also a commentator, as I would like to say. He commentates on a lot of stuff. He has the Sharpe Way, which is a great show. If you haven't subscribed to his YouTube channel, you really need to subscribe to his YouTube channel. His show is incredible, and he knows Flying Rich, which is kind of scary to me.
We ate lunch every day together for like 6 years.
I know. That story scares the hell out of me.
Yes. No, I actually met Rich now. I've been Rich's friend now over 20 years now.
How could you not have switched him to the libertarian way?
I think the reverse happened. It's funny. He knows my wife. And my wife was, and he's laughing because he knows, my wife was hardcore Democrat. Yeah, he laughed because, I mean, like, Hillary Clinton is the person.
It's like Hillary was a saint to her.
Correct. Yes. Now she's like,
Saint Hillary.
That Trump guy, maybe. She has completely turned. I think that Rich turned her better than I could have turned Rich. It's bad. He's better than I am. I got to hire him to stop moving people. So, yes.
Yeah. By the way, Johnny 3-Bar has a perfect solution. We should charge Canada a carbon tax.
Yes, because taxation always works.
Well,
yes.
I think if they just cut down all of the trees, we won't have any of these problems.
See, you're thinking, Rich. That's the problem. Mm-hmm. If you cut the trees down, there can't be any trees on fire.
Right.
Done deal.
Most of our oxygen is comes from not bacteria. It comes from algae in the sea anyway. So
there we go. See, so who needs oxygen? Oxygen's for chumps.
No,
just like if they make murder illegal, nobody will murder anyone.
That's it. God, Rich, why aren't you like king of America? I don't get it. You have all the answers. That's it. Rich for king. Rich for king.
There you go. Let's jump into the governor's race. You ran for governor in New York.
I did twice.
What happened last time?
Well, 2018, I did so well, and I don't mean that as a joke. I mean that as reality because of being a third party, right? In New York State, it's not very easy to get in the ballot, not easy for third parties to run. And as a libertarian, I actually got 2% of the vote, which you might go, 2%, Larry, that sucks. If I was Democrat or Republican, you'd be right. As a third party, as a libertarian, that was the highest a libertarian had ever gotten ever in the history of the Libertarian Party. And it was the first time we actually were able to achieve party status in New York State. So it was a big deal in 2018. So after that, I kept running, meaning I kept crossing the state. I care about my state. I still love New York. I didn't bail like you did, Rich. I actually still sit there fighting a good fight, trying my damnedest. And I cross the state every year. In fact, I go to all 62 counties every single year. This is my 6th year that I'm doing it now. And people still know who I am. I still got media attention. So all of a sudden, 2021 comes around, a year before the actual race, and I start polling. And I'm polling at 6%. And again, the average person might say 6%, that's kind of crappy. For an independent candidate who isn't on the ballot and who hasn't even announced, 6%'s magical. So I said, I'm doing well. I'm polling at 6%. Oh my God, that's crazy. This was across New York State. So I said, you know what? Why don't I try to build a coalition? For most people who aren't in New York, you may not realize New York State is a very deep blue state. We're almost 3-1 Democrat to Republican. A Republican has not won any statewide election in this state, not governor, not AG, not senator, nothing, in 22 years. And the state's getting bluer, not redder. How do I know that? Because we're losing about 300,000 people per year. A bunch of them are going to Florida, and most of them are people who would not be voting blue. Otherwise, they'd stay. So they're all leaving. Yep. So we're losing more and more people. In fact, one of the reasons why Florida is so red is because guys like Rich left New York State and went to Florida and are turning it red. So with that in mind, I realized the only way of having a victory is by creating a coalition against establishment Democrats. So I said, all right, here I am. Third parties, get behind me. Republican Party, get behind me. And the talk was amazing. They were all talking, oh my God, this could work. Maybe it could work. So I went to the Republicans and I said, hey, Republicans, why don't you back me? Because in New York State, we're different than other states. In New York State, we have what's called fusion voting. Fusion voting means you can literally run on multiple lines at the same time. So I could run a Republican line, Libertarian line, Conservative line, Forward Party line, all together. And then all of the added up votes counts towards my victory. That can be done in New York State. Other states don't do that. New York State does. So I said, wait a minute, let's do this then. Why don't you guys back me? And they went, well, Larry, why don't you become Republican? I said, then I lose, right? Democrats hate Republicans. If I run as a Republican, I lose. You can't win as a Republican in New York State. In 22 years, it hasn't happened. Democrats hate Republicans. They're not going to vote for Republican, but they'll vote for Libertarian. And I know that because in 2018, 25% of the people who voted for me were registered Democrats. So I know they'll vote for me. So I said, let me do this and we'll win this thing. And the Republican said, man, but you got to become Republican. I said, okay, I tell you what. Why don't you do what the Democrats do with Bernie Sanders? The Democrats let Bernie Sanders run in the Democratic primary, even though he's not a Democrat. He's a socialist. So let me run in your primary as Libertarian. If I win your primary, I won the primary. It's not your fault. I won the primary. You give me your line. I'll have 3 lines. At that point, I was still talking to Andrew Yang and his team to get the Forward Party line. Another party called the Unite Party, trying to get their line. I'll have 5 lines against our governor's 2 lines. This is a winnable race. We could win this damn thing. The Republican said, you know what? You're right. Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to sue you off the ballot so you can't do that. And they literally spent tens of thousands of dollars in lawsuits in civil court, suing me off the ballot, and I couldn't get on the ballot.
What was their claim?
Their answer was, well, this is another thing, right? This is a separate piece. Once I got ballot access in 2018, I then crossed New York State in 2019 supporting local candidates. That's how you build a grassroots thing, right? You support local candidates, so you get local victories. We had 107 victories in 2019. there were 107 libertarian victories in 2019, all based upon me out there running around, me bringing press, me raising money for these local candidates. 107 victories. New York State said, well, we can't have this now, and then changed all of the ballot access laws mid-stride and made them impossible to in any way get the ballot. And last year was the first time in 80 years that New York State did not have an independent governor candidate on the ballot. They decided if Larry can do anything, we're going to end all of it. And they literally ripped up all the parties. A Green Party's gone in my state. Unite Party's gone in my state. Reform Party's gone in my state. I'm gone in our state. Destroyed all of them. So my lawsuit was
Too High Party.
Gone. Yes. Well, here's the problem with this, Rich. I believe the rent is too damn high party. You should be able to have a local party if you want to. New York State made a rule that for you to have a party, you have to run a governor candidate and you have to run a presidential candidate. What local party runs a presidential candidate? You don't do that. So they basically said local parties are destroyed in New York State. They destroyed all of that. So we sued them saying this is unfair. We lost the state case. We lost the federal case. We appealed 6 times, lost all 6 appeals. Every time. And we sued before and after. Now, here's the issue. So if you understand how this works, some of you may not care. Some of you, I hope you do care. You have to get signatures. Now, people say, Larry, is it that hard? Well, we have to get 45,000 signatures. Is that hard? No, but we have to get it in a 6-week period. And they moved it earlier to where in New York State, there's still snowstorms. So that is impossible. Getting 45,000 signatures is not impossible. Getting them in 6 weeks when there's snowstorms is. It cannot be done. I told them it cannot be done.
So let me ask you a question. If I ran, if I was a New York run bubblegum manufacturing company, and I was going to give away a station wagon, and I made the rules like they did for running for governor, I'd be in jail.
Yes.
They would say it's a conspiracy of this or that. I'm defrauding the public.
I would say it's even worse. It's worse because before this change in 2020, they said they every 4 years is when it changed because it was a governor race. Every 4 years, if you won ballot access, you got it for the next 4 years. That was what they did. They changed the rules 2 years in. I said, you can't do that. You can change the rules, but I won ballot access for the next governor race. That's why I did this. And they went, nope, sorry, no. Just no. Just no. I made a constitutional argument. In fact, it was so much, I actually went there. I went pro se with another lawyer so I could actually speak myself because they wouldn't let me speak. I was the only person who knew this issue, and they would not let me speak. Just, nope, you can't speak. And then one judge actually said to this, I said, you're doing this on top of all this during COVID lockdowns. This was all done during COVID lockdowns. And the judge said, COVID doesn't affect anybody. He was making us wear masks in the courtroom. We were literally wearing masks in the courtroom. And he's like, doesn't affect anything.
Did you tell him?
Homeboy, I'm wearing a mask right now. What are you talking about? You're making me wear a mask right now.
Did you tell him he was effed up?
Yeah, they didn't want to hear it. Did not want to. In fact, here's the best part. So we sued him twice, once before and then once after. So I go through it. I dropped $400,000 trying to get on the ballot, lawsuits, the whole deal, and I can't get on. But not just that. No one gets on. I tell them before, what you're asking me to do is impossible. They say, no, you're lying. It's totally possible. Anybody can do it. I say, it's impossible. No, you're lying, Larry. Sorry, you lose. So now, after it's done, no one makes it. I don't make it. I have a party behind me. The Republican nominee, Lee Zeldin, who actually ran, tried to get an independent line. He couldn't make it. A sitting Democrat a Republican congressman couldn't make it. Harry Wilson tried. Harry Wilson's a multimillionaire. He couldn't do it. Literally, no one could do it. The Green Party couldn't do it. Howie Hawkins, who ran for president, couldn't do it. No one did it. So then after no one does it, I go back and go, look, I told you it was impossible. You were clearly lying. Here's the evidence. Nobody made it, to include the current guy running for governor in the Republican Party. He couldn't make it. And they went, yeah, no. Sorry, no. Just no. And on top of it, they had these old rules. where you have to hand photocopy every document you bring for your appeal. I had 5,500 sheets that I had for signatures. I spent tens of thousands of dollars on photocopying that they never looked at and never even cared. One of the judges gave me a response saying, I can't say yes because Larry Sharpe never presented a constitutional argument. Blatant lie. It's in my oral argument and in my written argument, I even used the word constitutional. I said there are 500,000 New Yorkers every single cycle who vote for a third-party candidate. That was my argument. Or I have many arguments. One of my arguments is that. And they know that person is not going to win. Why would 500,000 New Yorkers vote for a third-party candidate knowing he or she is not going to win? It is their political speech. They are voting against the system. They are showing you they don't like. They are doing none of the above. It's what they're doing. It is political speech. You are taking their political speech away. And they said, no constitutional argument. And I put the word, this is taking away constitutional arguments. But I made a bigger argument, which this is the one that everyone should see, which is, what's the harm in me being on a ballot? I had been in the ballot 4 years before. 100,000 people voted for me. So it's clear at least 100,000 New Yorkers want to vote for Larry Sharpe. Evidence is there. We see it. That's true. So if I'm on the ballot, what's the harm? None. Just don't vote for me. You don't like me? Don't vote or vote for somebody else. Millions of New Yorkers did that in 2018. They did not vote for me. So clearly that also can be done. So there's no harm in me being on the ballot. But is there harm in me being off the ballot? Yes, you've taken away 100,000 people's right to vote. So you've created damage if I'm not in the ballot. No harm if I'm on the ballot. Another one of my arguments.
Excellent argument.
Didn't care. Didn't care.
Wow.
That happens, and it's just not New York. In Pennsylvania,
Yes.
for example, that happened with the person that was running against somebody who was running for the House, running against what's his name, Fitzpatrick from Pennsylvania, who's like this. He's a Republican, but I have no idea why he's a Republican, because he's for assault weapons bans and universal health care and all this stuff.
He's probably a Republican because in that area, that's the best chance of victory.
Yeah. Well, there was a woman that was running against him, and they sued her off the ballot too.
Yep. All the time. This is the problem once there is a one-party state. And New York State is a one-party state. And why is the problem just the Democrats? It isn't. Whoever's the junior party knows they're not going to win. So everyone who runs is running as a grift. And I mean that, right? And it's not Republicans, Democrats. It's whoever's a junior party. In the case of the Republican Party, I have the receipts. I told everybody what was going to happen. I said the party chair at the time was a guy named Nick Langworthy in New York State. I said, he's lying. He's grifting to raise money. He's just going to get a bunch of cash. He's lying. Because he was saying, we're going to beat Cuomo at the time. And he goes, we're going to beat Kathy Hochul. No, you're not. You're not. No way. 3-1 Democrat, Republican, not going to happen. He was lying and saying he would. He raised literally like $10 million for New Yorkers and across the area. Then he picked Lee Zeldin to run. Lee Zeldin ran for one reason. He was afraid in redistricting, he would lose his seat. Because he thought, oh, they're going to redistrict New York State. I might lose my seat. What am I going to do now?
No, he was a congressman.
He was a congressman on Long Island. Yes. And so he was going to lose his seat. So he said, what can I do? I know. I'll run for governor. That's a good grift. I'll raise millions of dollars because Nick Langworthy is my buddy. We'll raise money together. Then I'll take that money that I raise, I'll put it into a PAC, and I'll pay myself. And I'll just raise money, and I'll buy myself a job with donor money. And that's what he did. And I told people, I said, within a month after the election, he's going to be running a PAC. What's he doing now? He's running a PAC. And again, I said it out loud. I said it before it even happened. I knew that's what he was doing because you cannot win in my state. So why would you run? And more importantly, if he's a congressman, this was back in 2022. I'm sorry. It was back in 2022 where I was saying the odds are high that the Republicans are going to take the House. You're going to be able to get a seat. You're going to be able to get a good spot someplace. Why would you do this? Because he was afraid he was going to lose and he wanted to grift. Nick Langworthy took all that money that he was going to give to the governor's race. Didn't do that. He saw an opening with the redistricting, ran for Congress, took that money to run for Congress. Now he's a congressman.
So, all right, explain
That's the grift.
how. how campaign funds work, what you can and can't do with them.
Yeah. So let's say I raise, I don't know, I'm a Republican or a Democrat. I raise $5 million, right? I mean, I raise $500,000. It's a lot of money, but say I'm a Republican, Democrat, I raise $500,000. I mean, I raise $5 million. I spend $2 million in my campaign. I spend another $1 million, you know, on things like consultants and things like that. These are all my friends, right? So I basically spend money. I like you, Rich, so I write you a check for $100,000 a year so you can be my consultant on Second Amendment issues, right? Which means we talk once a month about guns. You get $100,000 a year for that, right? That's how I make my friends happy. I do that kind of thing. I also spend money, you know, getting my name out, being more popular, meeting some wealthy people, that kind of stuff. I also spend some money on media, so that media knows me and likes me. So I do that kind of thing. If you buy ads, the media covers you. So you buy ads, you cover the media, and the media knows you, feels comfortable. So I spent $3 out of my $5 million, and I have $2 million left. I lose my election. I can now do what I want with that $2 million as long as it's political or something like that. So I find a think tank, and John has a think tank called the John Crump Think Tank of Florida. That's his think tank. So I say, John,
Virginia. So that'd be
I'm sorry, Virginia. That's what I meant. Virginia.
Yeah, that'd be really weird about a think tank in Florida, but it could happen.
Nobody would care. You can call it whatever you want. So you have your think tank, and I say, John, you know what? Your think tank is very valuable when it comes to media and liberty. So I'm going to donate $2 million to your PAC. By the way, John, do you have a space to hire me as a chair or something for about $250,000 a year? You go, I do. What a coincidence. I bought myself a job.
It happens. Politicians are all crooked, man.
Yes, so I bought myself a job now.
Let me.
So I donate to John. He then hires me as a chair for $250,000 a year. Of course, I gave him $2 million. He got tons of money for me.
Basically, so it's money laundering.
Of course, but it's legal. So it's
legal.
Not officially.
So it's insider trading if you're in Congress.
Correct.
Wow.
That's not a joke.
Yeah, but not just that. I spent a bunch of money also in the media, right? I bought a bunch of ads, tons of.
So nobody's going to dox you. Nobody's going to expose you and say, Larry just did this so he could have a C-level position at John's company.
And not just that. Now, if I want to become a news contributor, you're happy to pay me to be a news contributor. I just gave you $2 million in ads. You're happy to pay me a $100,000 or $200,000, whatever the amount is, as a contributor.
Right.
Who cares?
Bunch of kickbacks.
Yeah, I gave your company $2 million. Yeah, you're fine. You'll hire me. You'll bring me on so I can do a couple spots in the morning show. You don't care. Fine.
So I like doing shows like this because I like to expose how things work. Like if you watch like Schoolhouse Rock, when they talk about bills, how a bill is formed, right? I want to do like a spoof of that, but like do it actually how bills are formed by like, have the special interest group. The special interest group writes the bill and gives it to the guy that they bought, and like do like a
he puts his name on in the homework like he did it himself.
But
look,
do
I got this.
Schoolhouse Rock about how things actually work, because it's not one side doing it and the other side's not. It's both sides doing all this stuff, and it needs to have light shined on it, but I can't animate, so.
This is I'm not sure what level of grift. I'm like, it's crabs in a bucket. It's all sorts of things combined. It's really, really bad.
Yes, which is why I believe, and people think I'm crazy, but I really believe the only answer is third party. And the reason why is if you don't go third party, we are spending so much time fighting culture war stuff. We're not paying attention to the real stuff. Right. The thing that and I'll give you, you'll like this, Rich. I had a friend of mine who likes Donald Trump. And I said, great. Can I ask you a question? Why'd you vote for Trump? And he goes, yeah. And he gave me like 3 reasons. And I said, okay, great. Good for you. You believe in that? That's awesome. You should vote for him. Awesome. I said, why are you voting for this Republican? Well, he likes Trump. Yeah, but did you have reasons? Well, he likes Trump. That's not the reason to vote for him. Does the guy have the policy? You gave me 3 reasons why you voted for Trump. That made sense to me. You like Trump. You like those issues. That makes sense. But this guy's just some dude who says he loves Trump. Anybody can say they love Trump. Does it mean anything? So what you're doing now is you're picking a team. Red team, blue team.
Yes.
I'm on the team, so I'm voting for my team. No, you can give me the reasons that you gave me for Trump for this guy, I'll buy it.
I'll give you reasons why I don't vote for Trump.
Go ahead, please.
His stance on guns, for example. I
didn't vote for Trump either, so I'm with you.
His constant grifting, which I believe that he is, his pandering to the Republican base. A lot of reasons like that.
But my point is, if you can give, and this is my personal opinion, people can vote any way they want. But my personal opinion is, if you can tell me reasons why you're voting for someone, that makes sense to me, whether I would vote for them or not. I always vote third party. So I'm not voting for Trump. I'm not voting for Biden. It's not going to happen for me. Mm-hmm. I don't get who I want. But if you're going to tell me that Biden's worse in this regard, because you ask someone, why do you vote for Biden? Every time, because he's not Trump. Because I hate Trump. That's the worst reason. Give me a reason. Tell me. Oh, I love old people who fall upstairs. Okay, that is a valid reason to vote for Biden. You like old people who fall upstairs. Okay, I'm in.
Or people who vote for Biden because they like the Easter Bunny being the hero of the story.
Also, good idea. Yes, I'll buy that. At least you got a reason, my friend. I will buy that one. Yes.
So John and I have different opinions and different logic. I want Trump because he makes them lose their shit. And you get the most flack when you're over the target.
No, sometimes I don't think that's a good idea. You shouldn't vote for someone just because they make the other side mad, and you just want to like troll the other side because you like. You should vote for people because they are actually principled people that stand by what they believe in. That's why, Republican-wise,
After Dark thinks I'm Al Sharpton. I don't have the Al Sharpton hair, dude. You better get some glasses. Have you seen the cool
Dark is
Al
a friend
Sharpton
of
hair?
ours.
Has he not seen? Has he not seen the cool Al Sharpton hair?
Yeah, you should get on that show. It'd be very interesting.
Oh yeah. I got.
Should I bring my Al Sharpton wig? I'll bring my Al Sharpton wig.
You have an Al Sharpton wig?
I'm gonna go buy one because that's a good idea. I like it.
I got a wig in one time from Amazon. I ordered something from Amazon. I opened it up as an effing wig. Like, I didn't order this. So I contacted Amazon. They're like, "Oh, we'll reship it." I was like, "What do you want me to do with the wig?" They're like, "Oh, you can keep it." I'm like, "Can I please just send it back?" I don't need a wig. My wife opened it up. My wife was like, "Why the hell did you buy this?" I was like, "What? I was filament." I was like, "I ordered filament, man. It goes in my 3D printer." She's like, "This goes in your 3D printer?" I'm like, "No, that does not go in my 3D printer." I was like, "I have no idea what that is."
That's funny.
But yeah, Rich and I have disagreements over Trump a lot. I like Rand Paul.
My point being, though, and I keep saying this, we're just doing red team, blue team culture war stuff, right?
Yes. That's so good.
I'm voting for the blue guy because I hate the red guy. I'm voting for the red guy because I hate the blue guy. You should be saying I'm voting for these guys because either we follow same values or same policies or whatever. You really like old guys who fall upstairs. These are all at least reasons to vote for somebody. And sadly, if we just go blue team, red team, we don't hear it. For example, what you're saying, John, a lot of Republicans are not going to hear what you just said at all.
Yeah, but
and because they don't hear it, Trump has no reason to change his stance.
Not only Second Amendment rights, but also like Fourth Amendment rights.
Yes.
The 14th Amendment rights, the right to due process. You know, he's also for stop and frisk, which is something I can't get behind.
Well, my point being, why would he change? They're not going to hear you because, I can't vote. I got to vote for Trump because I hate Biden. Again, if Trump was afraid that was true, he might change his stances. If Biden was afraid, he might change his stance. Again, both sides do it, but in this specific case, Biden's worse. Biden's policy literally is, I'm not Trump. That's his campaign.
His policy is, it's okay to shower with your daughter.
Ooh.
As long as you're not Trump, you have to add that part.
Yeah.
Ooh.
You have to add, that's his entire campaign, which in my view is a terrible campaign. Right? If you got something to say, at least say it. If you think
Listen here,
Medicare
Jack.
for all is the right answer, I mean, I don't think that, but if you do, say it. That's the right answer. You know, if you want it, there it is. They don't do any of that stuff. They just go, I'm not Trump. Aren't you scared of Trump?
Listen here, Jack.
So
we hear that a lot. You lying
Look,
pony-faced
what
soldier.
a third party does, and while it may seem silly, it's not like all of a sudden next year libertarians are going to control the Congress. Of course not. But let's assume for a moment. Let's walk down a crazy road. 2024, 2026, there are 3 libertarians in the U.S. Senate. Just 3. Nothing else but 3 in the U.S. Senate. Libertarians control the Senate with a swing vote. Done. Senate is now controlled by libertarians, which means now when Republicans say we're gonna allow debt ceiling to be raised, libertarians go, okay, how and why? So now all of a sudden Republicans have to be Republicans. They can't just get away with it. Or libertarians go, we'll burn the whole thing down. The whole thing goes under. We don't care. You will be what you're supposed to be, or we go under with just 3 libertarians. Democrats talk a good game. They say they're for freedom. I hear that all the time.
Oh, man.
Okay, great. Now you have to be it, or libertarians shut the government down. So you got to be what you got to be. Sadly, libertarians are better Democrats than Democrats are, and better Republicans than Republicans are. So once you have just enough of them to pull each, they have to be real. They can't just yell other guy bad.
Yeah. Well, I don't have my glasses on, and I misread this. I thought it said "Hello, big Hitlers and glowies."
Well,
but it says hitters, but no glasses.
It's fine. Whatever. just don't raise your right arm up right now. You'll be fine. Just don't do that. You'll be fine.
Yeah,
So that's why I push third parties so much, right? And that's why they don't want third parties, because here's the thing most of you probably don't know. Many of you who've paid attention to me know I have tons and tons of policies, actual policies on how to fix things, tons of them. You might say, well, wait a minute, Larry, don't the Democrats, Republicans have them? No, they don't require them. What they have are communications teams. They don't have policy teams. They don't need them. All I do is go, Rich is an evil Republican. You don't want an evil Republican to come kill your children, do you? So vote for me. And Democrats go, oh my God, evil Republican. We got to vote for the good Democrat. And that's it. And I do some stuff. And this happened. It is changing because my congressperson is AOC. I accept your condolences. So anyway,
I love and hate that.
If you go back about 6 years or so, 5 or 6 years, she was actually trying to do stuff. Now she's far too busy, with like TikTok makeup exposés or something than to actually do any work. So now she comes back to Queens now. And again, if it's 4 years ago, 5 years ago, she comes back to Queens and it's like, oh my God, amazing. Now she comes back to Queens and people get mad at her. And when she says things,
I saw that one town hall. They were ripping her up.
They were like, what are you going to do for us? You said you were going to do so much stuff. What are you going to do? And her answer was, yeah, but Republicans are bad. I'm not joking. That was her answer. Republicans are bad. They're bad. Now, if you live in Queens, you probably agree with her. You probably think Republicans are bad because you live in Queens. I got it. Most people do think Republicans are bad in Queens. Okay, but what are you going to do? I got it. Republicans are bad. What are you going to do? She has no answer. And people are starting to get upset, which is why I think now's the time for a third party, which is one of the reasons why the No Labels Party is growing, and also why the Forward Party is growing. Forward Party last year raised over $100 million.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I was on stage with Yang last year. I was the only libertarian candidate the Forward Party endorsed last year. And because I'm trying to push the third party piece, it matters. If we don't have third party, this country keeps getting divided worse and worse and worse. And eventually we can't talk anymore. And then we start going to more sporadic violence, and then eventually more organized violence. This is not an answer that I want. I do not want this as an answer. I think third parties are the only answer. That's why I push it so much. It's why I push the idea of ranked choice voting. It's why I push open primaries. It's why I push all these things, because once you have a third or fourth party, even gerrymandering goes away, because gerrymandering is based upon two parties. Once you break that, even that goes away. So you fix a lot of things if you have an actual third party that exists. It doesn't have to dominate. Of course, I wish it would. But if you just had at least a third party that was just decent, you would change everything.
Well, I'm not watching TikTok. I have no idea what my phone is. It started playing a random YouTube video. That's how I turned it
You were
off.
so watching TikTok. So you were looking for that AOC makeup TikTok. Yes, you were.
I won't put TikTok on my phone.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the one where AOC's dancing on the roof. That's my favorite.
That's a good one too. Look. She's an attractive woman. I'll give her that. Good looking woman, 100%. I didn't vote for her. I'm not going to vote for her. Doesn't mean she's not a good looking woman. She is.
Don't say that you like that Latina ass or whatever, where she started crying and say that guy when the guy yelled, "I like your ass, Latina ass," and she
who was the guy? He was yelling at her on the steps.
Yeah. Then she started saying, he assaulted me, and
she made it up. It was all on video. She actually said like thank you or something when it happened.
Yeah. And the police just sat there. It's like, dude, it's kind of cute.
Well, the police supposed to act in this one.
Yeah, and I felt so violated. Whatever. She's the one that
Larry,
said that she was underpaid in Congress.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, she's now a millionaire, so she's fine now. She's good.
Insider trading is good.
And also getting cash for other things that you do. Yes, absolutely. Yes. 100%.
Well, here's the thing. They made insider trading illegal in Congress. But they don't have a penalty.
See that? It's illegal, but no penalty.
It doesn't make any sense. Well, we made it illegal now. Well, what's penalty being called? Oh, there's no penalty.
As my favorite saying, Al Gore, my favorite quote from Al Gore, when he got caught making illegal campaign calls from his residence, he said there's no controlling legal authority.
There we go. I like that. Therefore, it's okay.
Which translates to na.
Yes. So I guess if I took someone out into international waters and murdered them, it'd be fine. There's no authority. So murder's okay now.
Well, no, you're still tied to the laws of where the boat is registered at. So if you murder yes. So
I'm registering my boat in Sealand.
No, I looked this up.
I'm doing Sierra Leone. I'm doing mine. Yes.
And plus, and then there's also international laws against it as well. So you're kind of like, it's like a double whammy.
So literally, he was okay, but murdering's okay. Whatever, it's fine.
So don't ask me why I was looking up where to murder people without getting in trouble.
Rich, I think you should stay in Florida. Don't go to Virginia, because you do. John's gonna be like, "Hey, want to go on a boat trip?" You're like, "No, it's okay.
No boats with John." Let me write that down.
No boats. Write that down. No boat trips with John. Don't do it. Do not do it.
Yeah, I really couldn't find a place where you can get away with murder.
So that's
in the Air Force. What is they have the JAG Corps, Judge Advocate General, right? Is there anything in the Space Corps or whatever?
JAG.
Ooh. Jag would do it.
Jag. I was just wondering if you could kill somebody on the space station. Then
they have Jag.
Oh, on the moon. Take you to the moon and kill a guy. That might work. There we go.
Yeah.
Why are we talking about killing people on the moon and space? This is bad. Change course. Change course quickly. This is going down a very dark road. I don't like this road. Turn this road around.
What was the movie with the moon Nazis? Space Iron Skies.
Yeah, Iron Skies.
Right.
They have Iron Skies too as well.
No,
there's a time two. There's a second one.
Yeah, it was incredibly bad. It was like exponentially worse.
Okay, so I have to watch both now. Thanks, Rick. Now I have to watch both. Thank you.
One day I was just curious. I'm like, I wonder if there's anywhere I can go where murder is legal.
Okay, let's go back to my AOC and such. How about that? Why don't we go do that? Let's do that. My point being, I'll go walk down the point even more. How in the world are we going to be able to deal with more important issues when every issue is almost always dealt with based upon what team says, right? Why are Democrats, for example, so many Democrats behind the Ukraine war? Do most Democrats know what's happening in Ukraine? Most don't. Some do, but most don't. The problem is the Democratic Party says Ukraine war is good, therefore Ukraine war is good. Why did most Democrats want to get the jab? Did they know the science? No. Democratic Party said the jab is good, we want the jab. And these are important things. These are all life and death decisions. And in life and death decisions, we are not thinking. We are just going with my team. My team says good, my team says bad. That's the wrong reason. And there's something else. In these cases, we've made doing your own homework a bad thing. Now, I would ask you something. Rich, if you were going to buy a firearm, if you were going to buy a car, if you were going to buy a house, and then you told me, you know, Larry, I was doing some background on a house. And I would go, what are you, stupid? Listen to the experts. Why are you doing your own homework? You're dumb for doing your own homework on buying a house. I wouldn't. I'd be like, Rich, smart move. Do your homework. See what makes the most sense for you. Right. Check out the areas. Right. You're buying a firearm. You're buying a car. I'd be like, great. Do your own homework. Now I'm worried about whether or not I should put a substance in my body. I'll do my own homework. What are you, stupid? No, it's always a good idea to do your own homework. Always.
I am the science.
Actually, if you want to believe him because you've done your homework on him and you believe he's the right guy, I'm actually okay with that. I wouldn't, but that's okay. Again, it makes sense if you go, you know what? I did my homework on him. I'm happy with that. I believe in the government. I don't know why you would, but fine. But we're not doing that. We're just going, oh, the left said it's good. I'm a lefty. Done. Wrong reason. And it's harmful for us. It's stopping our thought process. And now this is now life and death situations. And there's a second part. Now I can never go back. In other words, I can't go back. Like, no one's ever going to go back and go, you know, those jab, I probably shouldn't have been so harsh about that. Never going to happen. You know that war we got behind? They probably shouldn't have. It's never going to happen because now I become a heretic. Now I've attacked my tribe. I can't do that. That's my tribe. So now we can't even learn from our mistakes anymore. We can't. Even when data comes out showing it was a mistake, I can't accept that. I've got to I now have to see the data and have to attack the data as wrong or bad or evil. Any individual who says something, I have to assassinate his character, right? Rich has shown me why I was wrong on this. Well, you know, Rich is a Republican, right? And that's my answer. It's not, okay, show me where Rich is wrong. Rich is right, so I can't say that. So I'll just say he's an evil Republican, and I will dismiss him. And that happens again and again and again. Character assassination is now the norm because I have to defend my tribe. Logic and facts don't matter. My tribe matters. So if Rich is right, I just attack him personally. And then
it has to be ad hominem.
Yeah, it's like Rogan, Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan was a Bernie supporter and everything. He's been a Democrat all his life.
100%.
The moment that
I called him a Democrat when I was on his show. Within 10 minutes of his show, I said, "You're a Democrat." Literally, I insulted him and called him a Democrat on the show. You're correct.
Yeah, but he is a Democrat, and he will admit that. But he talks to right-wing people. So
how dare
so now since he talks to right-wing people and he gives them a chance to explain their positions and everything, oh, you can't do that. That means you're one of those far right people.
100%. Because either you're with us or against us. That's it. Right? Elon Musk wasn't a right-winger. Never been a right-winger.
He's still not a right-winger.
He is now, right? I mean, come on. The amount of people, and I see it, and this is going to go back to my story that Rich, from my wife. She felt like she was attacked by her own people because she didn't agree with everything. And when she didn't agree with everything, She was assaulted, not physically, obviously, but like, how dare you not believe everything we believe and say all the words that we tell you to say and do all the things? And she began to be pulled away. And I was like, I saw that coming a mile away, right? I saw that coming because that's happening, right? You see it happening to somebody, particularly people as they get older, as they begin to look back and go, yeah, I said some dumb things, but I was 25 years old. So, of course, lots of 25-year-olds say dumb things because you're 25. I get it. Lots of them do. So you go back, maybe I wasn't right. And when you say that, all of a sudden they go, no, heretic. You go, look, I've been in this party, Democrat in this case, right? Longer than you've been alive. So stop with your stuff. And they hammer her. And she goes, is this my party anymore? Is this where I should be anymore? And I think you see a lot of that happening on both sides, which is why you look in many states, no party affiliation or independent voters are starting to outnumber whoever the minority vote is. In New York State, it's already true. There's about 6.5, 7 million registered Democrats in New York State, about 3.5 to 4 million independent voters or non-registered, and only 2.5 Republicans, 2.5 million Republicans. There's more non-affiliated than there are Republicans in my state. And across the country, there's more non-affiliated than anything else.
Can I ask you a question?
Bigger and bigger. Yeah.
Okay. This is one thing I wanted to get your take on.
Please.
If you talk to Democrats, right?
Yep.
They're like, you say Lincoln was a Republican. They're like, oh, the parties were switched back then. The Republicans were Democrats and the Democrats were Republicans. Then you're like, okay, well, then you have, the racist of the civil, like the McGoverns, they're like, oh, no, it was switched. It's like, but you've already switched it once. But then, like, they're like, Kennedy. Well, how about Kennedy? The parties are switched. So, how many times have the Democrats and Republicans switched?
Whenever it's convenient to say so.
No.
I'm sorry. Answer for Larry.
Ask me what a Democrat's going to tell you, and I'm happy to give you their answer. The answer is they switched in the late '60s. So everything before the '60s is why it was different. The late '60s was the switch. Everything before. So Republicans were good before the late '60s, and then after that, they switched. That is what a Democrat will tell you. You're asking the answer. That is the answer they will tell you.
But they also claim that John F. Kennedy, though. They claim him. When
there were two exceptions to this rule. Two exceptions. JFK and FDR. Those are your two exceptions to the rule. Because FDR, to most Democrats, was an awesome, awesome president. He was awesome. They loved him. He did so many great things. Blah, 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 blah. They're utterly wrong. That's not true on so many levels. But if you ask a Democrat, they will tell you that. He was awesome. He was great. He was perfect and wonderful. So those are the two exceptions. So I'm just answering your question, John.
It doesn't make any sense.
I didn't say it did. I'm answering your question.
Right.
It's a Democrat brain we're talking about. It doesn't have to make sense.
Yeah,
my point is, many people, you look at Democrats versus Republicans or left versus right, both talk about freedom. And if you want to understand and talk to people so much, you will see, you want to think of it this way. Most Republicans want freedom want freedom to do something. I want freedom to do this, freedom to do that. Most on the left want freedom from something. I don't want to feel poverty. I don't want to feel pain. I don't want to feel this thing. So that their concept of freedom is a different concept of freedom. But they both talk about freedom all day long. Democrats will tell you, look, what you have to do to be free is have universal basic income, have Medicare for all, have these things, and you will be free. That is how most people on the left think. Most people on the right say, why are you forcing me to pay for these things? I want to be free to do what I want to do.
You own nothing to be happy.
Freedom. Say again?
You own nothing to be happy.
And that's okay, right? There's a part of that. And I'm letting you know where a lot of the mindset comes from and how both sides can still talk about freedom. That's where their head is when they're speaking about it. And the problem is both sides see each other as terrible versus trying to understand them. So I will often talk to people on the left and say, look, you can have the things you want, but can't we find a way that either the market can give it or in a way that where a community can give it? Why do we have to have, and one of the things I bring up is most of the hardcore leftists in today's world speak about socialism, not in the way that Stalin or Mao would speak of it. You probably shouldn't. And they don't. But they talk about it as we want workers to own the means of production. And I said, okay, I'm okay with that concept. So why can't we instead, as an example, make a law in New York State, as an example, that says when a company's going bankrupt, you give it a 30-day window to allow workers, if they choose to purchase the company before the vultures come in. That's it. 30 days to give the workers a chance to raise money, to go into that and allow local credit unions to back them if they want to do so. And most people go, oh, that's okay. That's voluntarily allowing people to do so. If you don't want to buy it, don't do it. If you keep your company, it's fine. If you're going bankrupt, you don't care. No one's affected by it. The vultures can still jump in if they want to, right? But that allows for the left to get part of what they want while not pissing the right off. So you can, because Richard doesn't care about that law. He'll be like, fine, yeah, fine, whatever. That's fine. Yep. Richard's not mad at that. Whatever. But if I go, now every company must be owned by its employees, now Rich is mad, right? Now Rich is mad. So you can create.
And here's the whole thing: like, if you work for something all of your life, say I have a business. Say, if somebody confiscates a business, it's like looking at Native American tribal land. They're all on a shared income. They're all equally fill in the blank, and because there is no ownership, it's really horrific, because it doesn't matter how good or bad you do, you're going to get the same share.
Well, the point is, if you decide as workers that you want to create a worker co-op out of a failed business, that's voluntary. Yep. You're choosing. You're saying, no, I want to work that way. Go ahead, do it. You're not forcing me to do it. I don't have to. If I think it's a dumb idea, I walk away. Whatever. But if I'm like, no, this is the answer.
In fact, that's the best way ever, is because now you're saying you've got, let's say, I don't want to name names, but let's say it's the company Larry and I worked at. Let's say, 10 of us got together and we said, you know what? The owner's selling the company because it's got to go out of, let's buy it ourselves. I got great ideas. You know how freaking hard we're going to work to make it work?
100%. Yes. But here's the best part. I don't think that co-ops are the best way to run most businesses. Now, I could be wrong, right? And then maybe certain businesses where it does work well, maybe some farms or certain types of industries, maybe they do, I don't know. But if we allow this to happen, the market will show us. Literally, the market will show us. If all of a sudden co-ops start doing well, I'm wrong. I'm happy the market has shown us this. Then I'm wrong. I trust the market more than me, right? So maybe the market shows us this. Or if there's certain industries where co-ops actually do better, awesome. Then that will naturally happen. Finance will get behind it and we'll figure it out. But I don't want to force it. Allow people to test it and try it, and the market will let us know whether co-ops actually work or not. And if the co-ops don't work, maybe people will stop doing them eventually because they will fail in the market. Now, again, I'm okay being wrong. You don't have to do as I say. Just don't force me. That's all I ask.
What did Anna Rand say? I can't remember the quote. I'm going to paraphrase it. It's I would never force anyone to do anything, and I would never want anybody to force me to do anything or something.
Absolutely correct.
I can't remember exactly what the right quote is, but it's something like that.
Yes. So and the problem is, it's not like I'm the smartest guy in the world. I mean, I'm the best looking guy, but I'm not the smartest guy in the world. Could anyone else figure out how to do this? Of course. But my point is, they don't want to, right? They don't want to find an answer, because then that means they have to actually deal with issues, actually fight on actual ideas, think about stuff. It's a whole lot easier to go other guy bad. Way easier. So they do. Someone's teasing me saying, Cohen Sharpe. I am not running for president next year. So that's clear. Not doing it. Last year whipped my ass. I am told my ass is still stinging from last year. Let it at least cool down before I try another run at this. So I'm not running next year for president at all. But would I consider a VP slot? I would consider a VP slot. It depends on who would be running. I consider it. I would.
Now, is Cohen running for president on the Libertarian ticket?
He's not running. People like Cohen and they like Sharpe, So they always do that, but neither of us is running. Right now, there are 3 people running. And if anybody wants to see them running, by the way, if anybody cares, go to my Larry Sharpe YouTube page and search for the LP Presidential Forum. I did 2 of them. And there are 3 people who are running right now who are hardcore. Lars Mapstead out of California is running. Mike Termott is running out of Virginia. And Chase Oliver is running out of Georgia. So those 3 are the people right now who are the top 3 who are running for the LP presidential nomination right now. How the LP does it is next year in May, we will have a convention, and the convention delegates will select our nominees.
That's I got invited to the LP convention.
And you didn't go?
I don't like leaving my house.
Well, most people who are libertarians would agree with you. So you'll be among your brothers. That'll be fine. Yes. You'll be among your friends. Absolutely true. Yes.
Yeah, I'm like.
So, what's New York City like right now? Or do you work in Manhattan right now, or are you working out of Queens?
I don't need to go to Manhattan much at all. I go here or there. Most of my work is done out of my home office. It's very rare I have to go in. Since the lockdowns changed so much in New York City. New York City, sadly, is doing 2 things. There are certain neighborhoods that are growing, but the vast majority of the city is dying. We are now under 8 million now. I know, Rich, that shocks you because you never thought that would happen. But yes, we're now under. We had broken 8.5 million before the lockdowns, and now we're under 8 million.
Yeah,
and we're losing more and more and more every day. The city is just New York State's budget is about $230 billion. There are literally only California and I think 18 countries that have larger budgets than we do. And per capita, we have the highest budget in the entire country per capita. And you guys in Florida, you have more people than us. Your budget's half.
What I think is crazy about New York and Long Island, because I go to Long Island a lot, is the school districts in Long Island. It's like every block is a different school district.
Well, how else are we paying administrators $300,000 a year?
Yeah, but the school districts are like 1 or 2 schools in a school district.
How am I going to give my friend a job as a supervisor and give him $300,000 a year if I don't make more school districts? My family keeps getting bigger, John. Okay, someone's got to pay.
Wow.
So I make some more school districts. We have administrators in New York State that make $400,000 or $500,000 a year. And here's the best part: we have school districts in New York State that have more administrators than teachers. Yes.
I don't understand how that works.
Wow, Rich is speechless.
Yeah. I remember because there was like an administration building on, I hate saying the word campus, but Islip had the high school and junior high when I was there, and they had an administrative building. And I'm like, wow, what do all these other people do? And I'm like, we got a principal, we got a vice principal, a dean. Like,
I'll tell you what they do.
I don't get it.
They follow state and federal guidelines. That's all they do. That's their job, which is why my whole plan in New York State was to create a separate fund from a separate company. This is how Singapore does it, Norway does it. You can't make it part of the government because the government will just take the money. It has to be a separate company with a separate CEO, a separate executive team, and you create what's called the New York State Social Trust. It's a trust that encourages big business to give money to it, gives them a yearly dividend as a safe investment, so they'll stop buying up all this goddamn housing. They'll instead put money into this, give them a dividend, and that fund pays directly school districts directly per student. The money follows the kid per student. Once that happens, no money comes from the state, no money comes from the federal government. Therefore, no control. How they control is through money. Once that goes away, there's no control anymore. So now, if there's no more federal guidelines or state guidelines you have to follow, half those administrators will be fired within a year, which cuts the school budget.
Gotcha.
And not just that, now there's extra money for teachers. Teachers aren't starving in New York State. They aren't. They make about $70,000 to $80,000 a year. It is absolutely a livable wage. They're not starving, right? Don't get me wrong. They're not buying a third house, right? They're not rich. but they are not starving. It's not like Kansas where they're like literally starving, right? They're like on food stamps in Kansas. This is New York State. Teachers are not starving. They make a livable wage without question. But compared to administrators, they get maybe 1/3 of what administrators get. So what happens? The best teachers go, why would I teach? And they'll become administrators. So we're losing our best teachers. The smartest ones say, why would I teach? I'll become an administrator. I'll do less work, not deal with kids, and make 2 to 3 times the amount of money. What am I, stupid? So they all become administrators. So the system makes sure that some of the best teachers in New York State, at least, leaving become administrators. Why wouldn't you? I get it. It makes total sense. But worse, in New York State, you have to have a master's degree to teach. You can be a teacher in New York State with a master's degree. Wow. Yes. So now you have a guy or gal who gets a master's degree, goes all this stuff, heavy debt. They're now coming to be a teacher to be told what to do by administrators who've never taught before. So they go, why did I go through all this? So the answer should be either get rid of administrators and trust teachers, option 1. Option 2, hire high school graduates. You're telling them what to do anyway. So why go through all the teaching?
For sure.
If an administrator is going to tell you what to do, just hire high school graduates. Did you have a decent GPA in high school? Done. You're a teacher now. I'm going to tell you what to do from A to B anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Or let teachers teach. Either one works. We have the worst of all worlds. So now I also have teachers now who have school debt. So now you have school debt from having master's degrees with crappy degrees they don't use because they're being told to do by an administrator. Why would they say teacher? Become an administrator. You make your money back. You pay off your school debt.
Right.
And you're not using it anyway, so you might as well do that. The system is completely broken.
All right. Well, it was good having you on. Sorry we're a little bit late. Like I said, my roadcaster decided to update and I had no sound. And it would not have been interesting without any sound, and I wouldn't be able to record the podcast for the audio only version. So we had to wait a little bit.
Would have been tough.
But I just want to thank you, Larry, for coming on so much. You can follow Flying Rich at Flying Rich Firearms, Flying Rich on all social medias. Remember, Flying Rich Firearms is his YouTube page. And check out my Etsy. I got a really cool Cobra Commander thing. Also, Larry, tell everyone where they can find you.
You can head on to all the interweb stuff. I'm on Twitter and YouTube and Facebook and Parler and Rumble and Facebook and I'm on all the things. Look for Larry Sharpe. It's Sharpe with an E, and the E stands for entertainment. How about that? Yeah.
That works for me. And one more thing, give everyone words of wisdom.
Always lead with empathy. People don't care what you know until they know that you care. So start with empathy and then give them the real stuff. Start with understanding and then give them the facts. If you start with facts or knowledge, they don't hear you. Lead with empathy, you'll go a whole lot further.
That's awesome.
I like it.
Yeah, I give my kids words of wisdom a lot. And Rich will tell you. Rich, what do my kids say if you ask them? What does Dad always say? The 2 things.
Don't fly with Rich.
No. About the government and authority.
Yeah, always question authority. Yeah.
Always question authority and don't trust the government. My kids are 6 and 10, and they'll tell you that.
Good. I'll be hiring your kids soon. Excellent.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back in a week.
Okay, we'll take it next week.
Remember? Yeah, so no show. I'll be up in Delaware. May do like a surprise show or something like that. But I'll still be recording videos from my Delaware studio, but no show. All right, guys. Thank you so much, and we are out of here.